But let's go ahead and start down on our spine. And you can let your knees bend. And so we have been sitting, for a period of time. So I would encourage you just to do a little bit, just do a little bit of movement. So some windshield wipers. Maybe picking up your feet and taking a knees to chest. And then in your own time, as you feel ready, you can let your feet come to the floor with your knees pointing up. And you can keep your knees pointing upward to the sky with your feet, maybe 6 inches apart. Or if you like, you can take your feet just a little bit wider and then let your knees and your thighs fall together so that they're resting on one another. And then you can bring your hands to the low belly. So we think about the second chakra as living between the belly button and the pubic bone. And so you can let your hands just rest in that lower belly region. Allow your eyes to close and begin to sense the movement of the breath beneath the hands. The color that is associated with the second chakra is orange. And so you might even envision a orange ball of energy in the lower belly region, expanding with the inhalation and releasing the exhalation, seeing that energy ball, that orange energy ball come back into its original size. And then inhale, let the orange energy ball expand. And take just a few more moments here. After your next inhale and your next exhale, you're going to bring your feet a little closer if they're wide. So, feet maybe 6 inches apart, heels lined up with the sitting bones, knees pointing up to the sky, and bring your arms down by your hips. Palms can face the floor. Now, we'll do a few of those pelvic tilts here. So, I find it easier to start on the exhalation. So, as you exhale, you can draw your tailbone under a bit. So, as that happens, you're going to feel the small of your back press downward in toward the floor. It's a gentle press. And then as you inhale, you'll rock your pelvis the opposite direction. So the pelvis is on the floor, but it almost feels like you're sticking your buttocks out to the floor, and the curve of your low back is increased, right? So there's more space between the floor and your back. And then just rock the pelvis a few times through that. So as you're exhaling, draw the pelvis under, feel a gentle pressure of the low back toward the floor. And then as you're inhaling, rock your pelvis. It's an anterior tilt. The buttocks is down, but more space between the low back and the floor. And just feel the flow of the movement of your breath, initiating the movement of the pelvis. So you're creating more mobility in the bowl of the pelvis and the low back spine. And allowing yourself to really connect to that idea of the flow, right? Because the second chakra is the movement. It's that ability to be in the flow, right? That let go and step into the flow. And so just take a few more of these and really allow your movements to get fluid and smooth. All right, and then last one, and then you'll pause there with your pelvis in neutral, and you're gonna pick up your right foot. You're going to take your hands and loop your hands around the back of your right thigh. So these are those half knee to chest pulses I was talking about. This can be done with the left foot flat, or you could extend the left leg out along the mat. It's a little strong for my back, so I typically keep the left foot flat, but either way works well. Now, as you exhale, you're going to draw your right knee in toward your right underarm. So the thigh bone is going to get closer. You're going to feel your pelvis is drawing under, your low back's probably pressing down. As you inhale, press the thigh into the hands and let the thigh move away from the torso. And you're going to feel your pelvis is going to go back to that anterior tilt. So there's more space. And so let's just do that a few times. So it's a pelvic tilt with just this knee pulsing. So you're going to exhale, draw the knee and the thigh in, feel the slight cat spine or posterior tilt in the pelvis. And inhale as you press the thigh into the hands, slight anterior tilt as the thigh moves away from the ribs. And then just keep that going in and out. Exhaling to draw the thigh in and inhaling to move the thigh back outward as you press the back of the thigh into your hand. One more time. Okay, and then let your hands release. Let your right foot come down. If your left leg is extended, rebend it and take a couple windshield wipers. Okay, and then point the knees up, pick up the left foot, draw the left thigh in, loop the hands around to the back of the left thigh. So right knee can remain bent or you can extend it out along the floor. And when you exhale, draw the left thigh bone in toward the outer rib so the knee feels like it's coming in toward your underarm. And then as you inhale, press the back of your thigh into your hands. You're going to feel that tip of your pelvis, going to feel like the buttocks is sticking out toward the floor. And then as you exhale, draw the knee and the thigh in. Inhale. Press the back of the thigh into the hands. And exhale to hug the thigh bone in. And a few more times. Last one. Okay, and then you'll release your hands, plant your left foot down, keep your feet a little wider, and then rock your knees a few times from side to side. All right, and then we're gonna transition up to tabletop. So you can roll to the right or left and press up that way, or take that rock forward and back on your spine so that you can gracefully rise up. And if you want the blanket beneath your knees, take a moment, place the blanket underneath of your knees, and then rock your body forward to the tabletop. So here we can take the hands a little bit farther forward than we might for cat cow. And we will circle the hips around a few times. So just going to shift the hips out to the right or to the left, move the hips back, move them out to the sides, and then bring the hips forward. And just stay with that side a few times. Go somewhat slow and let the movement feel really smooth. And just bringing a level of awareness to if the movement feels more jagged, and what could you do to create more smoothness in those motions. One more time this way, and then begin to go the opposite. One more time that direction. And then coming through the center, spread through your fingers. Inhale, release your belly down toward the floor. As that happens, the tops of your thigh bones root back, the sitting bones rise up, and as you exhale, tone your belly button into your spine. Float your knees up into downward facing dog. You're going to pulse that a few times. So as you breathe in, let your knees come back down to the floor. Let your belly release. Feel the sitting bones rise while the center heart rises. And then as you exhale, ground your hands and balls of the feet, tone the belly, and rise up with your knees as the bones of the buttocks reach up into downward dog. And let's do it again. Inhale, take your knees down, release through your belly. Feel the sitting bones rise up while the heart lifts up. And then as you exhale, downward facing dog. One more time. Inhale, let your knees come down. Allow your belly to release. Let the center of your heart rise up. And then as you exhale, spread through your hands, tone the belly, and rise upward with the sitting bones. Now here we're gonna stay, and then just let your knees and your feet keep the movement going. So there's this pedaling of the feet, one knee at a time bending, the leg that's moving towards straight, that heel is reaching down toward the floor to bring a sense of openness through the back of your ankle, up through your calf, up through the backs of the legs, hamstrings, and gluteals. Okay, we're gonna let the weight come into the left ball of the foot, and you're gonna inhale, sweep your right leg up. Nice light lift. We're gonna exhale, curl the right knee into the chest and step the right foot by the right wrist. Turn your back left heel down to the floor for warrior two legs, Virabhadrasana 2. So you're gonna inhale and cartwheel your arms around so that you're turning your body to face the left long side of your mat. So right knee lines up over the right ankle. We'll actually pulse this right knee a couple times. So as you inhale, straighten your right knee and sweep your arms up by your ears. And then as you exhale, allow your right knee to bend and bring your arms down to parallel the floor. And then inhale as you sweep your arms up, straighten the front right knee. And as you exhale, allow the knee to bend and bring your arms to parallel the floor. And then one last time, inhale, straighten the knee, sweep the arms up. And as you exhale, allow your knee to bend. And now we're gonna take the left hand and just simply slide it to the left hip while the right arm is reaching out. Take a breath in, and as you exhale with your right hand and arm, start to reach the body to the right. So it feels like you're starting to lean out over your right leg while pressing down into the four corners of the back left foot. So as you do that, you're going to feel more solidity and power in that back left leg. And as you exhale, we're just going to take this right arm, bend it, and lean out onto the right leg for variation of extended side. So whenever I was first studying yoga, my teacher always used to talk about this top hip and kind of opening or stacking the top hip on top of the bottom hip. But for the sacrum, this top hip actually has a feeling of almost slightly rolling forward and almost even down. So the top left hip is slightly forward of that bottom left hip. So if you were to take your hand to your sacrum at the center of your low back, you would feel that it's angled versus straight up and down. That's what often happens in this bottom shoulder is that often we'll lean pretty strongly into the leg and the right shoulder will come up by the right ear. So I'm gonna have you press down into your right forearm so that you feel more lightness in the right side of the body and the right shoulder is moving away from your right ear versus toward. Now take a breath in. Now as you're exhaling, you're gonna tone from your pubic bone to your belly button, and then you're gonna use that to rise back up to warrior two. And then allow your right knee to straighten. Release your arms for a moment as you turn your right toes to face the long side of your mat. And then you're going to turn your left toes to face the back of the mat and allow your left knee to bend into warrior two. Bring your arms back up, stretch them out from your heart. We'll do the pulses first. So inhale, sweep your arms up by your ears. And then as you exhale, allow your left knee to bend and bring your arms to parallel the floor. As you inhale, sweep your arms up by your ears. Exhale as you allow the left knee to bend and bring your arms down. One more time. Inhale, straighten your left knee, reach up through your arms and fingertips. And exhale as you bend your left knee into warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Now your right hand is going to come onto your right hip. And you're going to inhale here, and with your exhale, you're going to lean to the left, the back short side of your mat. Reach with your left arm. Then once your body has leaned just a little bit over the left leg, you're going to bring your left forearm onto your left thigh. So you can keep the right hand to the hip, and we can really just kind of sense into the sacrum area. So the right hip is kind of it almost feels like it's rolling forward, right? Rolls forward. So the right hip bone is going to be forward of that bottom left hip bone, which is going to angle the sacrum versus having the sacrum perpendicular to the floor. Now really press into the back right foot. So the four corners of that back right foot press down, and you're going to feel that bring a lot of energy to your right leg. Now with your left forearm, be mindful of that tendency to release down. So you're going to press into your left forearm. Let the right underneath side of your body get really light, and you're going to notice the left shoulder blade draw down the back. Take a last inhale here. As you exhale, draw that line of energy from your pubic bone to your belly button, and inhale, root through the feet. As you rise up through warrior two, straighten your left knee, turn your left toes, all 10 toes facing the long side of the mat. All right, we're going to turn the right toes back out again. Allow the right knee to bend once more over the ankle. We'll do one more round of those warrior two pulses. So inhale, straighten the knee, reach the arms up by the ears. And as you exhale, allow your right knee to bend and bring your arms to parallel the floor. Inhale as you straighten your right knee, reach your arms back up. Exhale as you bend your right knee, warrior two. Inhale, straighten your right knee, reach your fingertips up. Exhale as you allow your right knee to bend. Now we're going to inhale, straighten the right knee, and we're going to take the back left foot and heel toe it slightly closer to the front right heel, maybe 2 inches at most. Stretch out from your arms. You can even put a soft bend in your front right knee, maybe a 2-inch bend. Lean to the right leg. So you're going to reach again. Now, as you get kind of in that lean, press down into the four corners of your back left foot and feel how that pressure down brings this energy line, like really strong energy line through the left leg. You're going to tip the rest of the way down. So left hand to the hip, right hand to the right shin bones, variation of triangle pose. So having you keep the hand on the hip so you can really sense into the sacrum. It's also almost 8 o'clock at night, and taking the arm straight up is going to be a little bit more energetic. So hand to the body is going to keep you closer into the center. It's a little more grounding, but also feel again the sacrum. So that top left hip is rolling slightly forward and the sacrum is angled versus perpendicular to the floor. So gaze down at your right big toe. Press lightly into your right hand and feel your shin bones press back up into your right hand. Now take a breath in. And as you're exhaling, zip up from the pubic bone to the belly button, slightly bend your right knee, come back up through a mini warrior two. The stance is a little shorter, so it's just a small warrior two. Straighten your right knee, relax your arms for a moment, pivot your right toes, and pivot your left toes. So you might have to take that slightly wider stance for the warrior two pulses. So bend your left knee, send your arms straight out from your heart, and inhale, sweep your arms up by your ears. Exhale as you allow your left knee to bend, bring your arms down. 2 more times. Inhale, straighten your left knee, reach your arms up. Exhale, allow the knee to bend. 1 more time. Inhale, straighten the left knee, reach the arms back up. Exhale to bend. Now you're going to take your inhale, straighten your left knee. Your back right foot can become a little closer to your front left heel, like 2 inches or so. Sweep your arms out. You're going to softly bend your left knee. And so I'm encouraging you to do that just to try it out, because it's easier for people who have back issues. So sacroiliac issues could benefit from softening that knee to transition. Right hand to right hip. Start to exhale, reach out through your left arm and your left hand. Press down through the right foot and then tip the rest of the way down. And then if you want, you can straighten your left knee. Right hand can stay on the hip. You could even come back just to feeling the sacrum at that tilt forward. Right hip slightly rolls forward. Look down at your left big toe. Feel your left hand ground into your shin bones, but the shin bones almost feel like they're lifting back up into your left hand. So that's going to create more of a light feel through the left hand. Take a breath in. Now, as you're exhaling from the pubic bone to the belly button, feel like you're zipping up, so you're really supporting, and rise up, mini warrior two. Turn your left toes to face the long side of your mat. Might need to bring your feet slightly closer if your stance feels overly wide. Drop your hands down to your crest of your hips. Inhale, draw your elbow points back. Draw the tailbone down and lift up through the center of your chest, and maybe take your gaze up, opening the throat, the channel between the wisdom of the mind and the compassion of the heart. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, feel a slight bit more weight go into the balls of the feet as you start to reach out through your spine and reach out through the crown of your head. So your heels almost feel a little lighter, right? Okay, and then when your body becomes about parallel to the floor, exhale, release your hands below your shoulders and walk your hands over toward that front right foot. Spin off the back left heel and step the right foot back into down dog. Take a breath in and a breath out. A breath in and a breath out. Okay, we're going to lower the knees. We're going to do extended child's pose with the possibility of a hanging cobra position. So the feet will come closer, not all the way touching, but closer as the knees go a little farther. And you're going to start to send your hips back toward your heels. So as you do that, you might feel like you naturally need to walk the hands just a little bit farther forward. So there's your exhale, long through the spine. Now, as you inhale, you're going to let your hips start to rise up. And now the thighs are going to come down toward the floor. And if it feels okay on your back, you're actually going to draw the tailbone down, soften your elbows a bit, and see if you can float your feet up into the pose called the hanging cobra. And then you're going to move your hips back. So you can ground down into the balls of your feet, send your hips back toward your heels, create lots of length through your spine. And then as you're inhaling, let your hips rise up. Start to pick up your feet. So you're almost moving like through a plank pose. You could even stay there if the hanging cobra bothers your back. Otherwise, your hips will come down. Soften your elbows so your heart can pull through and draw your tailbone down. And then one more time. Exhale, send your hips to extended child's pose. Press the balls of the feet down. Feel some stretch through the soles of your feet. And inhale, bring your hips up. Let your thighs come down. You can stay in plank pose or let your thigh bones come toward the floor. Soften your elbows a bit. Draw your heels in toward your buttocks. Take your gaze straight forward. And then last extended child's pose. Exhale, move your hips back. Pause in that extended child's pose. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Okay, inhale, come up through table, and we're gonna come around for that Marichiyasana twist that I demonstrated earlier. So you're gonna swing your legs out to the side, rock your hips up the opposite way, and then just swing your legs around in front of your body. So you might opt to sit up on the edge of a blanket. That's what I typically like to do. And so what I'm going to have you do is, instead of taking the left leg straight out, I'm actually going to have you take the left leg into extension, but then take the left leg and open it out to the left. I find that to even make it easier to get that twist in the pelvis. So you might try it that way. Right knee is going to bend with the right knee pointed up to the ceiling. However, you can modify that by letting the knee open out to the side. Now, your right hand's going to come back behind you. And for a moment, stretch your left arm up by your left ear. Because a foundation of a spinal twist is not only the pelvis, but it's also the length of your spine. So try to create a sense of length as you press into your right hand and get long through your left arm. You can press out through your left heel. Okay. Now, as you start to twist, we're going to start to turn the belly toward the right. And as that's happening, notice the pressure out through your left heel. So it's almost like if there was something out in front of that left heel and you were reaching for it. So what that's going to do is it's going to bring your left hip forward of your right. So see if you can really pay attention to that. Your left hand can land on your outer right thigh and then maybe twist. Now, if you have a sacroiliac issue and you want to like stay in the center with your arm reaching up instead, that's fine too. And also the twist could be more mild. So you could meet yourself that way as well. Just take a more mild twist, but do see if you can feel that angle of the pelvis. Take a breath in and a breath out. One more inhale. And one last exhale. Okay, and then inhale, bring everything around, back to the center. Lean some weight into your hands. Let's switch over the legs. So bend your left knee, extend out through your right knee, and take your right leg open about 20 to 30 degrees. To modify, let the left knee fall open. So left hand back behind you, press out through your right heel and stretch your right arm up by your right ear. So as the left hand grounds down to the earth, feel the line of energy come up. Now, as you take your next exhale, let your right hand come onto your left leg. But before you really start to twist, feel the pressure out through your right heel. So as you're pressing out through your right heel, then you can start to turn a little bit through the belly. We feel your pelvis twisting also. Your right hip is in front of your left sitting bone. And then turn through the belly, through the ribs. Take an inhale. And then exhale. Okay, take a last inhale. And a last exhale. And then bring your body back around to the center so you can lean some weight into your hands. Let your knees bend, bring the feet flat. You can let your shoulders kind of shrug up a little bit and then just gently sway your knees from side to side. Okay, and then we're gonna shift the hips forward off the blanket. If you were using the blanket, slide it out to the side. Come all the way down onto your spine. Pick up your feet, hug your thigh bones in toward your body and give a little rock across your low back. And then happy baby. Start to stack your ankles up over your knees, reach up for your feet. As your knees draw down toward the earth, your feet are going to press upward into your hands, and your tailbone is going to reach down toward the front short side of your yoga mat. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Okay, and then you can allow your hands to release so you can give one more hug of your thighs in toward your ribs. When you're ready, plant your feet, maybe a few more rocks. You can take your legs out along the mat. And we'll just take these last minutes here, coming back into stillness. So feel free to prop under the knees with a bolster or a blanket. Most people who have low back issues find comfort into doing the Shavasana supported. You can also do Shavasana side lying, and I find it to be beneficial if you do side lying Shavasana to put the bolster between the inner knees and inner feet, so you have like this little bit of height to that top leg. And just find a position and just begin to let your body sink and settle. As the body sinks and settles, you come back into the flow of the inhale and the exhale. The dynamic movement of the breath. Allowing your body to remain still for another minute. Bringing the awareness of your mind back to the movement of your breath. Feeling your body expand and release as you breathe in and as you breathe out. And then as you're ready, allow your knees to bend one at a time. Place your feet flat. Transitioning your body over to the right or to the left. Pressing your hands down and then giving rise back upward. Crossing at your ankles, joining your hands together at your heart in prayer, sitting tall. The light within me sees and bows to that same light that exists within each of you. Namaste.